Hi. So this is a short exercise series for people who run, especially if the outside of the legs get really, really tight, maybe the soles of the feet, around the waist and ribs. So there's lots of different exercises you can do after a run. This is just one set, and just kind of try it on, see how it feels for you. And sometimes it's nice to alternate this with maybe there's another favorite that you have. So we'll just start really slowly. You will need a bolster or rolled up towel or something to just have right near you, but we're going to go ahead and start first on seated, and just letting yourself shift over to one side, maybe coming onto the left and bringing your forearm down to the floor. And take the arch of my right foot and put it right on top of my ankle. Very, very simple. And then just doing a little bit of light opening and closing here. If having pressure on your elbow bothers you, just stop and put a blanket or something underneath to cushion your elbow. So just taking the knee open and closed. You may feel like a little bit of rolling on top of that left hip. And a few more times, just simple opening and closing. Very easy, no rush. This isn't to be done fast. Just open and close. And after maybe 4 or 5 times, letting those knees close together, I'm going to turn the chest towards the floor and inviting a little bit of a twist here. So you may want to turn your face in direction of your knees, take your forehead to the floor, or maybe turn your head in the opposite direction. I'm just going to stay here right now so I can continue to talk and be heard. So just letting yourself, as you feel comfortable, letting the chest settle into the ground, holding the knees on top of each other, taking some good deep breaths into both sides of your ribs, just kind of playing around, and seeing if you're resisting by pushing into the floor and really giving in, letting the weight, especially in your hip, just sink into the ground. And we'll stay here for another breath or two. And then slowly pushing yourself up until you can come onto your hands. So knees are going this way, chest is going to go straight ahead. And then begin to walk your hands around to the left as far as you feel like you can go. And then taking some deep breaths into the left ribs. So it's like being in an accordion. The right side is closed, the left side is what's breathing. Deep breaths. So maybe feeling it from high in the ribs all the way down to your hip. Big, deep, slow breaths, maybe even into that left shoulder blade. And after 3 or 4 breaths, go ahead and let yourself walk back around to center and sit up. So taking a few moments to bring both seat bones back to the floor, just letting yourself set up. You want to feel a sensation of straightness in your spine, and then we'll move on over to the other side. Coming onto that right seat bone this time, forearm to the floor, left arch of the foot is right on top of that right ankle, and then just a simple opening and closing on this side. So now you may get the little bit of massage on that right hip as you just move back and forth. Just nice and slow again, we're not rushing here. Want to give that hip plenty of time to feel that massage and that motion. And then after 5 to 7 times, you'll close the knees together, and same thing on this side. Just letting your chest come to the floor. You may look in the direction of your knees, forehead to the ground or opposite. And as you're ready, letting yourself just kind of sink down. Bring that chest as close to the floor as you can get. Releasing as much heaviness into that right hip as you can find. Just really letting it go. Let the weight of that left hip push right down into the right. You want to stay here for, again, maybe 5, 6 breaths. And after those 5 or 6 breaths, go ahead and push yourself up. Both hands are going to come underneath. Chest is facing up, away from the direction of the knees. And then start walking the hands around, this time to the right, until you feel about as far as you can go. And now you've got the accordion on the other side. Left side of the ribs are closed, right side is where you're breathing. Way up into the back of the shoulder blade, down the outside of the right ribs, maybe all the way into that right hip. Big, slow, deep breaths. And again, 5 to 7 breaths. I'm just going to do 3 or 4 so we can get on through the video, but for you to take your time. And after that 5th or 7th breath, walking yourself back around. And then once again, returning to seated. You want both seat bones to be on the floor, kneecaps pointed to the ceiling, letting the spine get a little bit of length. So bend the knees so we're not in a rounded back, and you can just really sit up straight. So then we'll go ahead and grab hold of that bolster or that rounded towel that you have. And the left foot's going to tuck in. Doesn't matter where the left foot is. It could be really close and maybe a little further away. Just wherever you feel like you can comfortably bend your knee and keep that foot on the floor. Right knee is over the bolster and right heel resting on the floor, kneecap pointed to the ceiling. So I'm just going to support myself with my left hand here and start making circles with the ankle. Doesn't matter which direction you start. You want to make sure that right seat bone stays connected with the floor the whole time. So going around a few times in each direction, and then go ahead and stop and reverse. Going in the opposite direction, feeling the knee and the ankle and the hip. Everything is rotating all the way up to the hip. And then we'll stop with some point and flex. Just give the kneecap a chance to set back up. A couple of times back and forth. You may feel some pull in the back of the calf. And then we'll go ahead and release. You're going to scoot the bolster out, and the right foot now is going to come in front of you. Left hand's going to hold the kneecap or just on the outside of the knee or over the calf. Right arm around behind you and looking for a twist, making sure the knee doesn't drop to the side. The kneecap stays pointed to the ceiling. Lifting up through the rib cage and getting a little turn here. If that's about as much as you want to do, stop. You may want to take that foot over a little bit further. Still, kneecap points to ceiling and seeing if you can still find that twist. That may be enough. Maybe you can even go further. Everybody's going to have a different place, and it may depend also after each run and letting yourself turn. So once you find the position, the desired place for yourself, you're going to take an exhale and look over the right shoulder as you inhale, turning a little bit back to center, maybe 3 or 4 times. Exhaling as you twist, inhaling, looking back. Let's do that one more time. Exhale. Inhale, twist and look forward. One more time, we'll find that exhale and a twist and then stay for 2 or 3 breaths. Keeping the kneecap pointed to the ceiling, the entire right foot grounded. Rib cage lifts, and then go ahead and release. Letting, again, both seat bones come to the floor, straightening yourself out for a moment, and we'll just shift that bolster over to the other side. This time tucking the right foot down. Doesn't, again, matter where it is. It could be closer, a little further away, and left foot is out to the side. Kneecap pointed to the ceiling. Right hand can be there for support. Just bring it around behind you. And we'll start the circles on this side. We want to feel it coming all the way up into the hip. Just making sure the left seat bone doesn't come off the floor. It stays very grounded as you're making these circles. Round and round. A couple of times in each direction. And then we'll end with that point and flex. So maybe you want to do more of those rotations, that's fine. And with point and flex, kneecap pointed to the ceiling. And then we'll go ahead and stop and just scoot that bolster out. Bring that left foot out in front of you. Toes pointed forward, kneecap to the ceiling. Right hand comes around and grabs calf or the outside of the knee. Left hand behind you. Take a breath in, lift the ribs. And as you exhale, and then turning back to center. That may be where you want to start. You may want to take the foot halfway across. Check that out. Or you may want to bring it all the way to the knee. Again, if the seat bone comes off the floor, you've gone too far. You want to make sure you can keep the seat bone on the ground and kneecap pointed to the ceiling rather than dropped. So hand wraps, looking around as you exhale, keep that left seat bone on the floor. Inhaling a little bit back to center. We'll do that 2 more times. Exhale. Inhaling, looking back to center. Exhale. Looking back to center. And this time with the exhale, we'll stay there for 3 or 4 breaths. Again, remember, it may change, your foot placement may change after every run. It's a little bit different. The terrain may have been different, so you need to make accommodations for that. And then go ahead and turn all the way back to center, and we'll just release both legs out. You can wiggle your knees around if you want to. So we're going to come back to the floor again, onto our sides, bringing the forearm to the floor. So I'm on my left forearm, and I'm going to send my left leg down the mat. Just making sure the leg is straight down the mat, so we're not in a bend at the hip, but it's really straight line here. You may even start to feel some pull right away. And then the left ankle, knee is going to bend, and I'm going to reach and grab hold of that ankle. And then the right leg is going to slide out in front, pull my toes towards me a little bit. And just kind of hold here and breathe. Every time you breathe in, you're feeling that pull again through the left side of your body. You may be getting some pull in the front of that left thigh, in front of that left hip. Just hold and breathe. Just let the body slowly give into the stretch a little bit. And pull your toes to you if you want on that right foot. So we want to stay here a couple of breaths, maybe 5 or 7. And then when you're ready, release the left foot. And then just sit up. I'm going to turn around to the other side. You can just roll over onto the opposite hip. So coming onto the forearm again, right leg straight down the mat. Again, not bent forward, straight down the mat. And then we'll bend the right knee, grab hold of it with the left hand, and left foot out in front. And just breathing again. As you breathe in, see if you can really stretch into the right ribs, down through the front of the right hip, front of the right thigh. Just breathe. Really inviting the attitude of not having to rush right now. Just slow it up. And pull the toes to you, or just relax that right ankle, left ankle. And then after 5 to 7 breaths, a slow release of the right leg. And go ahead and sit up. So now go ahead and turn right onto your seat bones again. Allow the knees to bend, kneecaps pointing to the ceiling. Nice strong spine. And then we'll take a slow roll down to the floor. And then once you're on the ground, just settling the back of the pelvis to the floor, shoulder blades down the mat. Knees are bent to start. And we'll go ahead and draw the right knee in, just the right knee. Give it a little bit of a squeeze in. And then releasing right foot to ceiling. I'm going to push the heel up to the ceiling, but the hands are interlaced behind your thigh. So they're going to resist the heel pushing up. Really resist it, and then let that knee bend again. And as you exhale, resist and push the heel up, and release again. 1 more time. You can do this 3 to 5 times. And then the next time that heel is up there, release that pull or pressure on the back of your thigh, and we'll just stay, finding a stretch through the back of the leg. I want to make sure the hands aren't in the back of the knee, but truly in the back of the thigh. And just hold, breathe. And then letting that right knee tuck in. Take left leg all the way down the mat. Right knee's pulled in. Right foot goes back up to the ceiling, and we're going to take the arch of that right foot all the way over to the floor. And the back of the right shoulder towards the mat. So we're looking for the arch of the right foot to be on the ground, toes pulled back to you, and then just gently begin to press into the back of that right knee. Just hold and breathe. You may need to bend and straighten a few times the right knee before it's ready to press a little bit straighter. So again, hold and breathe. I'm going to stay here 5 to 7 breaths. And when you're ready, tuck that heel back towards you and rolling onto your back. Maybe a little bit sideways on the mat, so go ahead and take the time to straighten yourself out. Right knee's bent this time. We'll pull the left knee in, give it a little squeeze. Holding on to the back of the left thigh, interlacing your fingers, and pushing the heel up with the hands resisting. And then that little half release. Exhale, push, hands resist, and release. 2 or 3 more times. Push and release. 1 more time. Push, and this time release with your hands, but keep that heel pushing to the ceiling, getting that hamstring pulled. Just hold and breathe again, 3 to 4 breaths. Holding onto the thigh if you need support rather than the back of the knee. And then we'll go ahead and tuck the knee, right leg goes down the mat. Keeping the heel and calf to the floor. And we'll take the knee foot back up. The arch of that left foot's gonna come all the way over to the floor. Pulling the toes towards you, let the knee bend to start, back of the left shoulder, aiming for the floor, and then that sort of press and release a few times, giving the outside of that leg a chance to stretch. And then maybe after 3 or 4 times, begin to gently press to the back of that left knee, and this time we'll hold and breathe. See if you can keep those toes pulling towards you. And again, after 3, 5, 7 breaths, whatever you feel you need, tuck the heel back to you, rolling onto your back. Both feet to the floor, take the time to straighten yourself out. This time we'll just do a simple draw the knees in and let the feet go up to the ceiling. Maybe take the arms overhead, get a little lift in the front of the ribs, and exhale. Again, feet up, arms over. Big, nice breath, exhale. Knees are soft here. We're just getting a soft elbow, soft knee. Really as little energy as you can find. And then once your hands and knees connect again, we'll go up and down the back a few times. Inhaling the knees away, getting that up and down the back massage, especially after the running, giving that back a little massage. Nice and slow, seeing if you can sink it. Exhale, knees pull in. As you start to inhale, the knees move away, just clearing room for your belly. And then the next time your knees go to the floor, we'll just stay there for a moment. Arms to a T. We're gonna look for just a tiny little baby bridge here, just enough to get a little weight into the upper back, let the neck stretch. And then slowly releasing to the floor. Arms alongside the body comfortably, and then taking your few moments of Shavasana here. You can let the legs go down the mat. Maybe one knee feels better bent today, or putting a bolster underneath your knees, letting yourself rest into the ground for a few moments, especially paying attention to the outside of the hips and the front of the flexors here. Just inviting the legs to be heavy for a few moments. Taking as much time as you need, eyes can close, letting yourself rest for as long as you want.